Record, 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 record. What's going on, guys? I'm back for another live tonight, and I thought it'd be interesting to go over my record collection that I bought recently since I've been back home. Since I've been back home, there's been certain records I've been wanting to get my hands on and just really see if I could find. And some of these records, I'll tell you, were the hardest to find. I had to go to, the most unique record stores to find them. So let me show you what I got. Let me show you what I've got in store for you and see if you got an interest in buying them at any of your local record stores, whether that is Barnes and Nobles, FYE, Newberry Comics in the Long Island area. I am doing a promotion. Sponsor me, please. Okay, so the first record I'm going to show and talk about is Roy Orbison's Mystery Girl. Now, this as an album was Roy Orbison's last album before he died. And he recorded it and all that, but it was released after he died in 89. And, Roy Orbison as an artist, he started out, he was a 50s artist, which is kind of hard thing to kind of, even think about, because, Roy Orbison, when you think of him, you think of Pretty Woman. That was in the 60s and all that. But he started out as a 50s artist. In the 80s, he was able to build a little bit more of traction because in the 60s, he had Oh Pretty Woman. He kind of went through a dry spin, kind of not having as many hits, especially in the 70s, really having nothing. And it wasn't really till before his death where he really started to rise again, have a comeback, with the Traveling Wilburys, the Black and White concert, and this album, is really good. Of course, it's got the famous "You Got It." I know people, from school who listen to this album. She's a mystery girl. I think that was done help by Bono. T-Bone Burnett was the guy who produced a lot of these songs. T-Bone Burnett ended up producing Elton John's "Wonderful and Crazy Nights" in 2016. California Blue, which was produced by Jeff Lynne. So Jeff Lynne is all over this. Of course, they were in Traveling Wilburys together. Really cool there. Really cool stuff. So this is a really good album. If you didn't get a chance to listen to it before, definitely a good one. The next is an album I've got to say I have not listened to, but because I know the group The Monkees and I basically know every song from the compilation album, it's not one of the best, things to buy on vinyl from the Monkees. It's not like Headquarters, which is their best known album and was number two at the time of Sergeant Pepper, the Beatles' Sergeant Pepper was number one. But of course, it's got Pleasant Valley Sunday, She, Porpoise Song, Words, For Pete's Sake, which is actually a pretty good one. That ends it. Randy Scout's Git, which was apparently offensive because the word "git" apparently is offensive. Love is Only Sleeping. Take a Giant Step. This is a compilation album that I believe was released in 2017. Rest in peace to three of the Monkees because we no longer have, Davy Jones, we lost 10 years ago. Peter Tork, we lost 3 years ago, and Michael Nesmith, we lost back in December on my birthday, unfortunately. So Mickey Dolenz is the only one left, and great group. Definitely, if you never listened to the Monkees before, compilation album isn't the worst thing to listen to from them. To get a gist of who they are, So the next thing we have is the Beatles One, which is probably known as their best known compilation album, with 27 hits from Love Me Do to The Long Winding Road, Love Me Do being their first big hit, and then the next was From Me to You because that was their first number one hit. I always wondered why Please Please Me wasn't on there, but then found out a year or two ago is because it never made fully number one. It was number one on one of the charts. It wasn't number one as a main Billboard chart, so that's why it never wasn't. So that's why it didn't make the cut on this album. But yeah, no, because they were just looking for like the Billboard charts. Even though "Love Me Do" in some ways was not a hit right away, but in '64 it became a big hit for the U.S. Um, but yeah, no, of course, if you look inside and open it, you've got, of course, the famous cover work of John, Paul, George, and Ringo that you've seen on it, with the very avant-garde backgrounds and all that, with of them, and this was the second CD I've had of the Beatles. It was the third Beatles album I ever listened to, because the first album I ever listened to was Revolver on a cassette tape. The second Beatles album that the first Beatles album I really bought was Hard Day's Night, and this album was given to me as a birthday gift. Yeah, this is an album that means a lot, sentimental reasons. I made a video about this about 2 years ago, and yeah, no, it was one of at time for me the best birthday presents were Beatles songs. Those were the best. I mean, were Beatles albums. Listening to Beatles songs on Beatles albums was probably like the best birthday gift. That it was like winning the lottery. And that's what I enjoyed as a kid. And yeah, if somebody is not a Beatles fan and wants to get into their catalog, this is definitely a good uh thing to reference. I mean, of course, it's got songs. There are songs on this album that there are songs that are not on this album that I would recommend for people to, if you haven't listened to the Beatles. These are so many songs to listen. I mean, there are so many songs I would tell people to listen to. It's not just the stuff from these 27 songs. Love Me Do, From Me to You. I'm not gonna list them all because we'll be all day here. But going from the first album to the last to the singles, anything that was a hit from them, and yeah, I remember, when I had the CD, I looked through. It had a booklet of all their singles, of their early stuff. And I remember I would have to. I'd be not late for school, but my mom would tell me, "Go, like, get ready for school and stop looking at the Beatles catalog then," because that was the thing. I loved looking at it. I loved staring at it. It was just there was something about it. There's something about the Beatles. It was like, in Toy Story, Andy had the toys. I had this. This was that for me. It was very an interesting thing at a very young age. Just loving the Beatles. I don't think as many people my age were like me in that way. I mean, of course, there were definitely a lot of people I've known now that are like were like that, but not at the time. So yeah, but definitely recommend this compilation album as a compilation album. It's worth it. So then the last album that I bought, and this album I tell you was the hardest to find, but I made it clear that I was gonna find this album because after I listened to it on a streaming service, I was hooked and wanted to hear it on vinyl and bought it, a physical copy, and this is Riding with the King, an Eric Clapton and BB King record right here. How even with the photo work of this album, how could you not love this album already? This album came out 22 years ago. From something opening up the 2000s, definitely shows you that the blues still lives. Uh, you know, yeah, like as a modern record, this works. And this is a classic. BB King at the Eric Clapton was 55 at the time. BB King was 75. Now Eric Clapton is 77. So yeah, BB King unfortunately is dead and would have been, I believe, yeah, 90. Yeah, he'd be 97 this year. And yeah, no, but it's a phenomenal album. BB Kim wasn't that much of a songwriter. And same Eric Clapton, it was more of like blues songs and all that. So you got Riding with the King, which was an '80s song, which of course perfect for this album. 10 Long Years, which is an old BB King song. But then you got and then Key to the Highway. But then you got some songs that were newer at the time, which was Marry You. Uh, you know, um, and then there was I think, what was it? Oh well, even their cover of Hold On I'm Coming. That was great. Their Sam and Dave cover. Definitely listen to this record if you can. This is definitely something. If you are an Eric Clapton fan, if you're a BB King fan, just listen to this record and definitely get if you can buy it, get your hands on it. Yeah, and yeah, no, there was bonus stuff I guess due to the 20th anniversary that I guess was done in 2020. But yeah, no, that's really what I have to say for those records. Just a little, peek at some of my record collection. And if you like these videos, let me know if you want to see any more of them or these streams of me showing my records. And yeah, no. That's it. Have a good night and see you all later. Bye.